Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is Friday, 11 a.m. in the Pacific, 2 p.m. in the Eastern time zone. Wherever you are, just let us know your time. Comment below. Engagement. It's Anytime with Ken and Alden. I'm Ken. That's all.
Hello and welcome back to the bygone year of 2006. You don't have to worry anymore. It's late stage Bush. Everything's fine. Sean Paul's still on the radio. There's no Transformers movies yet. Like, things are about to get a little bit weirder, but it still feels like the early 2000s, even though it's not. Welcome back.
Welcome back. I have so many questions, and God, you just kind of blew my mind. The Transformers hadn't come out yet? The first Michael Bay masterpiece?
That's an 07 motion picture.
I'm scrolling Wikipedia right now. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm shocked by that. Wow.
It makes you feel weird, right? And we're going to get into it. I have some lists pulled up. Top films, box office wise, top films, ratings wise, aggregate. I have a Billboard list pulled up. So you're going to hear some songs that I'm sure you're like, oh yeah. And then some songs that you're like, what the hell even is that? Which is a reaction I've already had just looking at it. So very interesting. People are chiming in here in the chat with their ages, which is not a good way to make Ken feel nice on this Friday.
Yeah. Laserbolt's here too. Laserbolt and I are going to have a little bit of that pang in our chests.
Yeah.
As we talk about
Laserbolt can help you out. You guys were sentient adults with jobs, lives, bills to pay, relationships. You could legally drink. You had already voted at least a couple times. Like, this is real adulthood for you. And for me, it's like, I was playing SmackDown versus Raw. So very different lives.
I was 30. I turned 30 in 2006, which reminds me, I turned 50 this year. Oh, my God. Oh, we'll talk about it.
Lovely time. I was 10, and I turned 11 in 2006. I turned 11 in December of 2006.
Big year.
So
wow.
I'm mostly 10 throughout this whole ordeal.
It's not even the same world. We're not experiencing the same world in 2006.
No, I was experiencing prime. Well, I honestly, his prime was a long time. The beginning of prime John Cena. I think from this period to like 2011, 2012 was a 5-year never-ending prime, and it starts here.
And I
very
and I was like, yeah, I'm not watching Raw as much anymore. You know the prototypes in WWE? He's pretty big now. He's like some rapper.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk all
David
that.
McKay was 19 going to university.
Okay.
Arcel was in high school. Eli was a toddler. He barely even counts.
Barely counts.
Addie almost in college. So this is pre-doctor. The pre-doctor Addie.
This is just Addie. Not a professor, not a doctor, not a scientist yet. But I'm sure in her heart. She was. Matthew Stokes was 27. All right, there. At least we got someone close.
Yeah, there you go. There's someone who's an adult. So everybody today, feel free to throw out favorites, least favorites, specific things that happened. I just had this thought randomly this week, kind of as a sequel and maybe even a counter to the 2016 nostalgia that I ranted about on a previous episode of this show, where I thought, why are we I thought we agreed that was horrible. But however, we did not agree that 2006 was horrible. 2006 is kind of awesome, at least from what I remember. But I was 10, so again, we're just gonna different angles. But I thought, why don't we look back? It's a year that turns 20 this year. There were a couple realizations that made me think, like, oh God, how is that 20 years old? Disney on the Disney lot recently did a few days ago did a 20-year party for High School Musical turning 20. That's an 06 release, and that threw me. So that was part of what made me think, let me ask Ken, see if he wants to go back to 2006. And now here we are. Very fun.
Okay, yeah, asked and answered. I wondered what I got the 2016 connection, but I really want to know what made you want to go back 20 years. And it's just kind of it is crazy amount of time that is a blink, which if I'm going to give one old man piece of advice to you at 30 this year is buckle up, strap in, press the gas pedal, because fuck, it goes fast. Like faster than you can even imagine. I cannot believe 2006, pre-iPhone, was 20 years ago, because I'm still like dealing with decisions and things that I did in 2006. So get to it.
I hate that, because that means that it'll be 2046 going toward 2050, and I'll be saying I'm dealing with decisions that I make right now. That's horrible. That sounds like the worst. That's actually the worst thing you could have said at this moment. Now I'm going to think everything is even more important than it actually is. Every decision could be the world.
The 30s are a great decade, right? I really believe the 30s are a great decade, and things are different where, you're like me, you're not like living in your own house and this, there's that kind of angle of the world's a little different. But in terms of just the age and what you can do and who you become, it's a great decade. But you have time, but you have no time. And I'm not talking about, when I say wrestle with decisions, I'm unpacking a lot of regret this week. In therapy and everything, I'm unpacking a lot of it and leaving it, right? You can't go back. But the habits that were entrenched then are what are holding me back now and have been. And so I'd love to go back to 2006 and just tell that person to believe in himself, to all those nice things that you want to say to yourself, because I just kind of thought I had time, and you don't. That's all. Serious stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good perspective, because I mean it creeps up on us even now. I mean, it's creeping up on me and all my friends that I grew up with, and as we look back on things that are turning certain ages. I mean, one of the things we'll talk about music-wise, my very, very, very favorite album turns 20 this year, and that you start to think about not just how old the thing is, but how much life you packed into the interim. And yeah, it's definitely we love to reflect on round numbers, but it just felt like a good time. And also, we're all kind of, I think, needing a little bit of like nostalgia for simplicity. It's not like necessarily you want to bury your head in the sand and get away from the problems. Obviously this week was yet another horrendous week in everything. And so consider this an hour break where we talk about the way things used to be, and maybe even draw some connective lines, from then to now, as it's relevant, as it pops up. I mean, we can't not talk about George W. Bush. He's already come up in the comments just because he was the president at the time. Mr. Now Watch This Drive, amongst other special moments. Yeah, Zanny's on the thumbnail.
I'm sorry. The now Watch This Drive, I think, is one of the greatest moments in history, and that's not supporting him. Right? It's just like, what?
It's very funny.
And then now I look at it, I'm like, I'd die if that. I'd love to just have that be the only thing we have to worry about right now.
Yeah, like it used to be like maybe your president or vice president said a weird, or like not even weird, but just like a thing that might be too human for the office would happen like once every few months, maybe. Like Joe Biden having the hot mic moment where you could hear him say fuck, and like things like that, like little things like that would be like, oh yeah, he's just a guy. Now it's like they are too much guy. There's guy everywhere I look. There's new guys. They have 80 million personality quirks, and they're all worse than the last. It's very, very bleak. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just distracted by everybody's comments too, because I'm so interested in what everybody was doing. I love when people say like, where was I when blank conversations. Those always, I feel very engaged by those. Where were you when this bad thing happened or whatever? And I guess we could start there. In 2006, I'm going to say this, and people can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we had any, like, obviously war was ongoing. There were things that were going on, of course, but there wasn't like a cataclysmic 2006 event. It was like pretty quiet, I think. Nationally, we were just kind of rolling. People correct me if I'm wrong. I was 10.
Well, so I'm literally doing the scroll through Wikipedia, and yes, as always, every year there's a massive amount of things, and there's things that tie into things. I'm looking at Google bought YouTube. That seems small, but that's giant
Wow.
for what we're doing now. There was obviously plane crashes and earthquakes, all that kind of stuff. But Hamas won the 2016 Palestinian legislative election. Sorry, I didn't have breakfast. We had North Korea did their first nuclear test. So you look back and there's like those things, right? That kind of hang over, and I'm not saying good or bad in either way. I'm just saying they're all kind of connected in a way. Much like my favorite one is New Year's 1999 into 2000, almost stroke of midnight, this unknown Vladimir Putin takes over Russia. And you're just like, oh, that's a neat little beep in time. And here we are. So there is a lot of stuff. But to your point, oh, and the last big thing, Saddam Hussein executed by hanging on December 30th, 2006. I think
hey.
Yeah. Quickly, and I know, remember him? And I know we're dealing with a little bit of a delay, but pitching it back to you, what I think you might be touching upon is, you were 10. It was all normal, meaning it was never normal. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of what we keep going back to now. Yeah. And when I have these conversations about like, how do you reach out to people who just are still operating on the politics of 20 to 25 years ago, where all these things you're reading, you just don't think they matter to you. They just don't think they matter to your neighbor. And they're just politics. It's this thing you don't pay attention to. And that should have never been the case. But I think because time moves so fast, some people just need to be their ass kicked into plugging in, I guess. And that's, I think, a little bit what you're talking about. 2006 was a very normal, quote unquote, normal year.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I remember like back then you would hear people talk about, the different political parties. If you were a kid, I was aware of them. Also, like I hung out with other like nerdy kids. Like we were like we were like, quote unquote gifted children and stuff. So it's like you're a little bit more speaking with adults like more frequently. So that kind of colors what we knew. But yeah, like the normalcy was still very much set in, and so much so that, we're 2 years out from Obama's first presidential victory. And that felt like everything's different now. And it's like, now I look back and I'm like, really, absolutely nothing was different. Nothing was different day to day during that period comparatively to the amount of change that we would happen now. I mean, like America has always have that unnatural acceleration rate of how much advancement we fit into any given period. But really, it's not so much advancement sometimes, just as like how much we're willing to break things, like how many eggs we just break constantly. And 2006, we were, in the second term of a president who was at this point very unpopular, but continuity choices, I think, for a lot of people felt right. I mean, you can speak more to that, both in terms of how you've changed, but also just like the mentality back then, I feel like was very, well, if it ain't broke, we might as well just let him finish it out. Like that mentality seemed more normal and American of like, let him finish. I mean, you can't undo everything because then you can't get anything done. Like that's the feeling I think it has looking back.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Again, there were people plugged in. I had friends of mine that I'd made in the groundlings, and I remember them. I went over to one of their houses to work on a script, and I showed up in like it might have been the State of the Union, I don't know, in 05 or 04, something around that range. And they were screaming at the TV at Bush, and I just remember thinking, I mean, it doesn't matter, right? Our lives are fine. It's just that bullshit privilege thing. But people were plugged in. But to your point, even like Vulcan Nerd, JMB saying in chat, he goes, hey, I remember having a conversation with my friends about Iraq and Afghanistan. I was telling them that Americans were quickly tired of the conflict and even kind of just going with life, and they scoffed. Yeah, because that's, I think, is about the year where that happened. We're 5 years out from 9/11. We're 5 years out from that whole thing and the freedom fries and this and that and the Patriot Act and all those things. And we just kind of settled into that new normal. And like I said, none of this I'm saying is an excuse. None of this I'm saying is right. But I keep going back to that because I keep having conversations with people now in 2026 where they just, I had a story I told on the Blast yesterday of deleting someone off Facebook because of some stuff they were posting that essentially were pro-ICE that were just so like, well, my gas is cheaper kind of bullshit, which was allowed more and more and more frequently in 2006, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess because the internet, especially the social element of the internet, as you know, in the comments here, Maddie points out the first ever tweet was sent in 06. So it's like that's the infancy level that we're talking about. I mean, we had Facebook already existed and MySpace existed, but the dominance of that whole format had not yet taken hold. And I think that creates the awareness factor, which creates an increased accountability factor, which further moves the youth into progressivism. And it just wasn't there yet. It was still very much like, okay, well, you know, we're over there doing what we need to do because we're the world police, and that's just how it is, and we have to do America things. But nobody was really questioning that. It was just the very beginnings of conversations that would allow an Obama to come in and kind of shock everybody with what at the time seemed like very I don't want to say radical, because that's what they would say inaccurately, but it was just like an unusual amount of emphasis on affordability, an unusual amount of emphasis on inclusion. Again, a very low standard of inclusion. Back then it was, you know, 06 sets the tone so that in 08 it's a shock that he mentions other faiths, you know, in his speech. Oh my God, he mentioned atheists. Oh my goodness. Like 06, we're still in the you can't mention atheists era, you know. So we have to work backwards from some of the stuff that we remember happening. Culture.
No, absolutely right. All right, take me through as best we can here on where you want to go. Movies, music. I'm curious. This is fascinating.
So 2006, 2006 is an interesting one. Let's start with music, something that we're both very passionate about. I'm going to read some of the Billboard Top 100 singles of the year. This is just singles, just to give an idea of what songs were always on. The number one was Bad Day by Daniel Powder, a song which I honestly don't even remember. And that was the number one song. I do not even remember this song. I'm being very serious.
Idea. I have no idea.
I have no idea. Oh, wait. Breaking. Molly's here, and she says that she was not yet with Alex in 2006. That is crazy to me.
Man, I'd love to see
number two
shots of sad Alex pre-Molly, just waiting for the love of his life. Dressed up as Biggs before it was cool.
A Biggs dark lighter, like buying her. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The number two song. Now we get into stuff that I know. Temperature by Sean Paul. Then we have Promiscuous by Nelly Furtado featuring Timbaland. Then we have You're Beautiful by James Blunt. Can you remember You're Beautiful by James Blunt?
I don't remember. I saw Nelly Furtado in concert. Remember. Okay. Of course, I saw Nelly Furtado in concert 2002.
Did you?
Thank you very much. Yes, I did. Big Nelly fan. James Blunt.
I remember this. Tell me how you ended up at Nelly Furtado live. I need to know who was there. What were you doing?
It was my friend Cecily and a little bit of we'll say Jorah and Danny relationship. And I was a big fan. I loved Nelly Furtado's first album. Oh my God, I'm Like a Bird and Hey Man. Love that album. Still play it regularly. And she was at the Wiltern with Citizen Cope opened up. And we went and had a nice what I'll describe as a non-date friend hang.
And to be clear, just for those playing at home, when you say your friend Cecily, you don't mean Cecily Strong.
No.
That's
but
a very
different.
That would be a very you reveal.
No, different spelling. But I remember when Cecily Strong got added to the cast, I was like, oh, that's like the first other person I've really heard with that name. It was great. But anyways, yeah.
We also have Hips Don't Lie, Shakira, Unwritten, Natasha Bedingfield, Crazy, Gnarls Barkley, Riding by Chameleonaire, Sexy Back, JT. I'm not going to read the whole thing. This is obviously a long list. A lot of stuff in there. And then there's stuff that's not included. I've already mentioned it. My Chemical Romance releases their third album, my favorite album of all time, the greatest emo record ever made, The Black Parade. I love this album. It's a perfect album. The fact that it's 20 years old freaks me the hell out. I remember being in my middle school band's classroom, cleaning my baritone and my trombone because if you just needed anything else to paint a picture of the kind of child I was in the brass section, emptying my spit valve. listening to how just like life-changingly incredible this album was for me. This was a peak of emo, which I know for you was a peak of ignoring emo people and not listening to it.
Yeah, completely. And my late stage Haley Williams Paramore, obsession. I'm looking at some of them like was All American Rejects kind of emo? Did that count?
Yeah, pop punky. The pop punk emo overall umbrella was all booming at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. I liked them. Yeah. I liked them a little bit. I can't explain. Honestly, man, I can't explain why I just didn't. It might have been an age thing, but like my favorite album in 2005 was 12 Songs by Neil Diamond, and I just was in a different phase. I went and saw Big Runga. I went and saw who's the guy, David Bazan from was it Pedro the Lion? Yeah. I just was in a different indie vibey kind of time in my life. Not that Neil Diamond is indie and vibey, but it was a little old man music early in my life.
Sure. So just while I'm going to pull up top albums now instead of top songs, but while I do that, just as more psychological, emotional table setting, in 2006, are you still, have you already started working in public safety, or are you no longer there? And are you in, you said you went on a non-date. So had you come out of your 2000s relationship already, or that hasn't happened yet?
Yeah, no. 2000, I entered public safety in 1998. Then 2004, I moved from the location I was at, the Northwood Fashion Center. I got a big promotion, and I became the security director of the Farmers Market, which is at 3rd and Fairfax, kind of this historic location on which the Grove, Rick Caruso's Grove, sits. So my friend ran that account, and I ran this account, but we kind of worked together. And I had it was an important moment and set of time in my life, because I started to really grow up. Started the sheltered Kenny started to fall away. I'm dancing at parties, at holiday parties. I'm drinking more. Not that I encourage that, but for me, it was a needed thing to kind of shake loose. And then I finally had a relationship with them. But 2006 is the year I started dating someone seriously. We went about 5 years. That came later in the year. So it was a very important year for me. I love 2006 in a lot of ways. I was doing stand-up regularly with the Room 5 crew. This is, the Harloffs and the Ellis. Well, Ellis came a little bit later. Eliza Schlesinger. That was kind of our weekly kind of crew that we did shows with at this venue called Room 5. And so I have a very positive memory of 2006. It's a good year for Ken. Not necessarily
that's good,
but for Ken, it's a good year.
I'm glad. I got to iron out. I just, as your friend, I have to iron out the timeline of your life in my head, because I know it all. But then because of how young I am, I condense it. Did you hear it? Because listen to what I said. I said, in 2006, had you started this career yet? And you're like, I started that career in 98. But in my head, you in 98 is like, I'm going to be a screenwriter. Like, I still see that version of you in 98.
True. Yeah, that was.
Which I guess they both kind of existed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I moved to LA in 98, started my job in October 98. I moved in August, got there in October at the security job. And literally told someone, I was like, oh, I'm going to be on Saturday Night Live in like 2 years. Like, I don't even need to take that promotion or do this or that.
Don't get used to me being here. But the other thing is, when you said Eliza was in that comedy group, I was like, Eliza Schlesinger's been doing comedy for 20 years? Like, I blew my mind.
I was the host of her first show in LA. My friend Tim Powers, they become friendly, and he like kind of brought her around to some shows. Like, she just moved from Texas and was like, he's like, yeah, I know this group of guys. And I was the host of the show. The first person to say, now come to the stage, Eliza Schlesinger. We had all had to learn how to say the name. Yeah. And I always say this, no matter, comedy's subjective. You might not like her, people might not like her, but she showed up on the stage pretty much ready to go. She's obviously gotten better, grown, changed all the stuff, but it was a great debut. Right. Yeah. That was before 2006. That was
great.
5 maybe.
She's great, and she's and very nice. At least to me. The albums. Oh, this is just Pitchfork's list of albums that I finally got to load.
Pitchfork.
You got number 1. They have Silent Shout, The Knife. They have number 2 is TV on the Radio's Return to Cookie Mountain. Number 3 is Joanna Newsom's album, Direct City. You got Ghostface Killah at 4. So this is definitely an alt list. The fact that Joanna Newsom is in the top 5. Pitchfork was digging deep with this one.
What? So
Forrest's in there.
It's interesting you mentioned I don't want to turn this into Ken Napzok where this is your life. Oh, M Ward's on the list. Oh, M Ward's great. I wrote, so from 2005 to 2006, I wrote music articles every month. I wanted to be like a music writer, and I was monthly at a column on a website called Tiny Mixtapes, tinymixtapes.com. And like we were kind of an upstart, but our main competitor was Pitchfork, but Pitchfork was just too big and growing rapidly, and that kind of killed us. So I every time I hear Pitchfork, I'm like, oh, I could have been Lester Bangs, but I killed the website I worked for.
Rat bastards. Okay, I got it by sales. I found the chart history and was able to sort it by sales. So this is going to include your mainstream stuff. So number 1 with 727,000 albums in 2006 is Mary J. Blige with The Breakthrough. That makes a lot of sense. That was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Now here, okay, are you ready for this? This is important because this ties into cinema as well. The number 2 album of 2006 is Me and My Gang by Rascal Flatts. And you will remember that this album features the iconic single Life is a Highway, which Disney and Pixar had on the Cars soundtrack in 2006. So this was cultural domination for Rascal Flatts. They had every family.
It was. They have a song I like called "Take Me There," which is about going to the hometown of the woman you fall in love with. I actually like that song. And Life is a Highway is one of my favorite songs because, of course, originally it's from Tom Cochrane in 91 or 92. Absolute great song. I love Tom Cochrane. And to have the watered down "Life is a Highway," like, oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's so good. And it's Owen Wilson voicing an animated car cruising.
Life is a highway. Yeah. Oh man. Go listen to the Tom Cochrane version, folks.
We had Jay-Z at 4. Tool with 10,000 Days, the 5th highest selling album of that year. Tool, okay, get this. You'll never hear the words I'm about to say ever again in human history. In 2006, Tool's album outsold Beyonce's by not a large number, but they outrank her by 1 slot on this list of sales.
Well, look, I think 2006, we're still like, it's still Beyonce of Destiny's Child, right? It's still like, the empire is growing, but it's not what it is.
Tool sold 564,000 units on the album 10,000 Days. Beyonce sold 541,000 on the album B-Day, which is crazy. Then we have Dixie Chicks, T.I., Evanescence. Evanescence's follow-up to Fallen, which was that's after. That's after. Right. That was 3 years before. Wait until we're doing the 30 years of 2003. Then we'll get back to that one.
Molly Damon used to be obsessed with Tool, so there's where your sales are, Alden. Molly bought 14 copies of Tool's album.
Molly was buying Tool albums and just being a local menace before she found a nice, handsome boy to settle down with.
Molly liked Evanescence as well. I can see Molly, what's her name, dressing like Amy Lee, right? Is that her name? The lead singer?
Amy Lee?
Is that her?
Of course.
Yeah. I can see Molly doing that.
The iconic Amy Lee. So there's a lot of stuff here. Is there anything that jumps out to you or something that did not chart that was a Ken favorite? I know you already said Neil Diamond. I don't know where Neil is on this list.
Well, he was 2005. But... Yeah, 12 songs was 2005. Oh, okay. Yeah, with Rick Rubin, and it's a great album. No, because also like 2000, I started to kind of fall away from music a little bit after the Tiny Mixtapes thing. I was a little bummed, and then I kind of realized, like, I submitted Neil Diamond's 12 songs as my favorite album, 2005, and that's when I realized I probably shouldn't be writing for that website anymore, and it was also kind of not succeeding as like we wanted, because I was starting to silo a little bit, and I just didn't know. That's why I missed like 4 years ago. I was like, Alden, who's Haley Williams? Who is this? And you're like, what are you talking? Like, I went
greatest moments in our lives.
Yeah, exactly. And from like 05 to like 2012, I just music was not my number one thing.
That makes sense. I mean, you also had to balance a lot. I mean, you listed some of the stuff that was going on. That's the other thing, is that like pop culturally, you know, we'll move into like movies and shows in a second, but like I was at that age where it was like peak prime hyper focusing time. You know, you're 10 years old, everything is new, you have no frame of reference for everything. You don't know that Life is a Highway is a cover until somebody tells you.
Right. Yes.
Which I don't think I knew until much later. Let me see here. Then let's go to movies. Let's jump around. And again, anybody feel free to drop anything that has not been mentioned. Feel free to shout us out. We're gonna start with highest grossing. I'll read the top 10, and then we'll go to best, where you'll get some of the more like underappreciated stuff. The highest grossing movie in 2006, which had a worldwide gross of $1 billion, which was extremely rare at that time. This is 2006, 2 years before The Dark Knight makes $1 billion. And 3 years before Avatar does what Avatar does. So this is Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest, the second installment in the series. Great movie. Then you have The Da Vinci Code, a film which I should not have seen in theaters, but did. Ice Age: The Meltdown, Casino Royale, which is huge, obviously. Casino Royale being brand new in 06. Yeah. That's crazy. 20 years of the Craig era. That's
dude,
crazy.
That's crazy. Dude, I remember the night I went to the theater. God damn it.
Oh man.
I mean, like, I never really liked
Royale.
Well, because I never really when did it come out? Devil Wears Prada. Oh, I love Devil Wears Prada. When was it released? Yes. Okay. November so I was dating Christina at this point. Yes. And I was like, I liked the first Pierce Brosnan Bond, but that was more because of the Nintendo 64 game. And I was like, I don't know. I have a vibe. I think I feel I'm gonna like this Daniel Craig Bond. So I went there. We went there, and probably with the brothers and everything, and transformed. I wanted to become a suit guy, which I did. I wanted wanted to be a secret agent. I was all in on Casino Royale. Still am. It's still one of my favorite movies.
What a sick movie, dude. Oh my god, and the Chris Cornell theme. Oh, You Know My Name. That is one of the best Bond themes. What a badass movie. Then Night at the Museum, directed by Star Wars Starfighter's own Sean Levy, in his biggest movie at the time, because he comes off of Cheaper by the Dozen and working with Steve Martin on those, and working with Steve Martin again on Pink Panther, and then suddenly him and Ben Stiller make this, and it's a huge smash. Then Cars, then X-Men: The Last Stand, the third film, where they replaced known creep Bryan Singer with known creep Brett Ratner. Great franchise track record.
Hollywood. Yep.
Number 8, we have the feature film debut of Jeffrey Jacob Abrams in the director's chair with Mission Impossible 3, which badass and a great first film right out of the gate. JJ directing, I think, one of the best action films of the era and one of the best mission films, and definitely the mission film with the best villain because of Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's amazing in that movie. Then Superman Returns, directed by the aforementioned creep Bryan Singer. And then number 10, Happy Feet, a movie which I ethically and ideologically just disagree with so much, spiritually speaking. But I need to do my Happy Feet rant for a second. So the thing about
I have no take in this, so this is great.
Have you ever seen it? Have you ever seen Happy Feet?
No.
Okay. So Happy Feet is a film directed by George Miller, by the way, of Mad Max and Fury Road and all these things, because that man is nothing if not versatile. So Happy Feet is a film about a penguin, and this penguin comes from a colony of penguins who all sing, right? That's their thing. They communicate with song. His parents are Hugh Jackman and Nicole Kidman, so you get a little bit of like a little little showmanship, a little razzle dazzle. Robin Williams is in it, etc. Great soundtrack. A lot of the covers are good. I'm honestly probably holding on to Unreasonable, like Teenage Hatred, But
Mm-hmm.
when you analyze thematically what's happening in Happy Feet, it's really unsettling to me. And what happens is he is born, and they imply that maybe he's disabled. You could read it that way, but like I don't want to speak for disabled communities, analyzing art. But when he's still in his egg, there's like an incident, and he's touching the cold snow for too long, and maybe they thought they lost him, and then they don't, right? So he's born, and instead of singing, he can't sing. He's tone deaf. He just sounds like he's squawking, and he dances. Ken, he dances. That's why he's Happy Feet, right?
Gotta happen.
And so he dances. They ostracize him, treat him like garbage. They treat him like a leper. He's like an exile. He gets captured. They put a tracker on him. He gets sent back into the wild. Happy Feet does nothing but suffer. And then when he returns, and by the way, I don't even think his name is Happy Feet. I just think that's what I'm calling him. His actual name is Mumble. That's his name. He's voiced by Elijah Wood. Mumble, Mumble returns, and thank you, Chuck. He returns, and then at the end, everybody starts to dance. Everybody dances. Okay. And it just has this weird, like, if you suffer enough and martyr yourself, like, if you can't make everybody else, if you can't be like everybody else, make everybody else like you. It's really, really weird. Like, there's never a moment of like synthesis. It's not like somebody says, "Hey, man, I'll sing a song and you have the moves. Like, let's create something together." That never happens. They all are just like, "Oh my God, he actually came back." I guess we all dance now. It's really weird. It's kind of like the Rainbow Fish. You ever read the Rainbow Fish when you were a little kid?
No.
Did they have that for you guys? So the Rainbow Fish is a book about
we didn't have books back then.
We didn't have books. No books. The Rainbow Fish, Ken. It's about a book of a rainbow fish. It's a picture book for kids. He's got shiny, sparkly rainbow scales. And then over the course of the book, gives away his scales to everybody so that everybody kind of feels like they're all included by him. But like, you inadvertently tell kids, like, you should diminish and overextend yourself and remove what makes you special. That way you don't stand out. And it's like trying to teach them equity, but honestly teaching them, like, no, just sacrifice and try to equalize. It's very strange. But anyway, Happy Feet made a bunch of money and it got a sequel. So here we are.
See, if 10-year-old Alden, if I had taken 10-year-old Alden to see Happy Feet and you started telling me that, I'd be like, kid, have a cookie. Have a cookie and a Coke, and we're gonna have a good afternoon.
These are things, of course, I didn't realize until like middle school, high school. But it was very concerning to me, nonetheless, that we're always teaching kids, like, hey, if you're a freak, have you tried being less of a freak? Have you tried like trying to create a homogenized culture that you're not a freak in?
It's just, everyone would be
strange.
This is big. This is good. D. Bradley Baker does voices in this. This is Chris Edgerly does voices. Michael Cornacchia, Mark Riley's buddy. If anyone watched Grasping at Straws back in the day, he's in it. Yeah. Steve Irwin, who passed away later this year. Oh my God.
Later that year. That's right. Yeah. Someone said it in the comments. Steve Irwin. That was probably the first death that I felt affected my peer group. Because even though we were only 10-year-olds, like, I remember our teacher telling us that. And like, it was the first like shared grief that I can remember, where like everybody in class was sad. It was really weird, to say the least, obviously. In terms of IMDb like ratings, so obviously very subjective. These are films that maybe didn't smash the box office, but are the most beloved from the time. Pan's Labyrinth, The Prestige, incredible. The Lives of Others, 300. You love The Prestige or The Lives of Others?
Prestige.
Oh, yeah.
David Bowie is Tesla.
Prestige. Rules. What a great film. Tarsem Singh's The Fall, which is one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen in my life, visually, I mean, but also thematically. It's on available to stream on Mubi, I believe. Children of Men, with the greatest actress that ever lived, Julianne Moore. This is England. The Departed, Ken, is 20 years old.
The
pain.
I've got to write a strongly worded letter to The Departed.
About The Departed?
It took me 18 years to see The Departed.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought you would have been there
till,
day one for a Scorsese.
No,
picture.
I'm not a big Scorsese guy because I think his stuff. I think he's his spot in the Hall of Fame secure. I don't do mob stuff. Well, I don't. Not a topic. I like the history. I'd rather watch a doc on
when you finally saw it though, you liked it.
Yeah, it went a little hard in the paint.
It is.
I don't know.
Do you know what else goes hard in the paint from 2006, Ken? The film celebrating his 20th birthday? The earth-shattering comedy known as Borat. Something that we are still culturally dealing with.
Look, man, I gotta tell you, I was all in on Borat. I was all in on Borat, and at one point at the farmers, a lot of celebrities come to the farmers market, and a lot of them, like I've told this story before, but I dealt with Paris Hilton, dealt with Britney Spears, but I spoke to Paris Hilton during that time. Sacha Baron Cohen would just show up, and he would just kind of walk around, get coffee, just hang out, and not a soul would recognize him. And I'd see him, like I'd think, oh, there he is. And it just at this year during the height of his like fame, this is like it was fascinating to watch. I was all in. I don't know if I'd be all in anymore for various reasons. Some is just not my style of comedy.
Various reasons.
But I was all in. Yeah,
and
the fact that
man, like
I probably said my wife too many times in 2006 too.
Oh my God. I mean, I people that are getting married now in my life where like it's still one of the first jokes that gets said. Like it's, people are excited to be able to say my wife, like, at somebody's wedding. Like it's great. Borat was interesting for us, I think, culturally, because it was obviously something that you're excited about. You're excited that your parents are excited about something that you also know about as a 10-year-old. And because my sister is 8 years older than me, it's like my sister is now crossing into adulthood in 06. And so I remember like her friends and like her boyfriends like knowing about Borat. I remember teachers kind of knowing about it. But it was I didn't have the words for it at the time, but now I do. We were being Andy Kaufman for the first time as a generation. Nobody had done that for us. Like there was no like, oh, he's always going to act like this, like at award shows, or like he's going to appear as this guy. Like this is later when he does Bruno and like, teabags Eminem at an award show, like things like that. Just really, we were like, you can just do that all the time. And that's probably what allowed him to enjoy just being by himself and going to places like that. It's very strange. Very strange to have seen in real time, especially now that we know about the man and he hasn't done that in a long time.
Right.
It's very weird. 2006, this is the one that really, because it's 20 years old, put me down the road of this whole topic. One of my favorite films. It's in my Letterboxd top 4. Little Miss Sunshine comes out in 2006 and it's so many things. I love it personally. I think it's a beautiful movie. I think it holds up perfectly. It's written by Michael Arndt, who wrote Toy Story 3, wrote the first draft of Force Awakens much later. And it has the first look at dramatic Steve Carell. It has Toni Collette, one of her best performances, Greg Kinnear, full of people. It's awesome. It's wonderful. Somehow it's 20 years old. Alan Arkin, so good. So many things that came out. Let me go to TV while you jump in with anything that we touched on or things that you are thinking about.
That's a pretty, I wouldn't say it's like one of those historic years in film. A lot of good things in there that are pop culture, watershed moments and discussions that still have, including The Departed, Little Miss Sunshine, Borat, all things, Devil Wears Prada. I love that movie.
Devil Wears Prada,
it's all in there. Yeah. So that's an interesting year in film. I don't know if it's one of those ones that you'll see a documentary about it or Scott Mantz will write a book about it, but it's like, it's a good year in film.
Sure. It's also the peak of shows such as, this is again an IMDb list, so we're going by subjective ratings, but there's a reason why they're popular. This is the middle of the run for 24.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did forget Snakes on a Plane.
Snakes
I
on a
did
Plane.
forget
Thank you,
Snakes on a
David.
Plane.
Thank you,
You're
David.
right.
Snakes on a Plane.
This is the first season of Psych on USA Network. Characters welcome.
Never
This
seen it.
is the Wire is a couple seasons in at this point,
Never seen
or
it.
maybe more
Never
than a
seen it.
couple. The Shield, Prison Break, The Unit. This is season 2 or 3 of Battlestar Galactica, a show that you have some connection to, in that you
Saw it.
know one of those people.
And saw it later. Did not watch it during its run. Was told several times. Which, as people who know me, it's a pattern. You should watch the show means I'm never going to watch the show. But eventually I did watch Battlestar.
Yeah. That's me right now with a couple things where I'm like, yeah, I will. And I know that it's going to be a watch in like 2030 when I'm depressed. And I find it like on Prime. And then it'll have already been popular. Kidnap, Daybreak, Thief, a lot of these I'm starting to not, because at this point, 2006, for us as 10-year-olds, that's the other thing, I got to keep reminding people, a lot of this stuff I did not see at the time. We are on season 2 in 2006 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. So the now president of Lucasfilm has left that show to go get a job at the brand new division that just opened up over at LFL, and he's gone, and that show goes into its second season, and it's incredible, wonderful, beautiful, amazing. That's another one that you've never seen an episode of, because that was one of them cartoons, and there was no way you were going to do it at that time.
I mean, I don't have a cartoon bias. It just was not. Yeah, it's not my thing. Yeah, wasn't my thing.
Molly just realized the math. It just processed for Molly that I was 10. Yeah, I was 10 years old, Molly. It breaks my heart. Well, that's because Molly, a fellow Buffy fan, like Buffy at this point has already been over for 3 years in 2006, because the show ends in 2003. This is around the time when I am watching it for the first time, because I was too young to watch Buffy as it aired. Like I wasn't even at the age of like knowing when my shows were on. That kind of starts around here. 2006 is the first time in my life where I'm like, I know that Raw is on at this time. I know that SmackDown's on at this time. I know that Airbender's on at this time.
It's your pop culture awakening year. I've talked about this often. For my life, it was 1987. And that's the dividing line between everything before 1987 is like history, and everything else I experienced, even though I was born in 76, if that makes sense. So the 2006 is your year, man.
No, you're right. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Musically, culturally, we've joked about wrestling, but like that really was serious. Like 2005 is when I first sort of brush with it and like really start to love it. And I went to my first SmackDown in 2005. So like that's really the beginning of my wrestling fandom. But 06 is when I no longer need anyone to take me to it or show it to me. Like I'm tuning in myself. I'm on the early internet. I'm going to WWE.com. I'm figuring everything out. 10-year-old, you're trying to figure out like, how can I see more of this? You're like hoping that early YouTube will have a 2-minute Hardy Boys highlight compilation that someone crappily put together. Because at the time, you couldn't have a video longer than 10 minutes, right? Unless you were a partner. That first year of YouTube was really it was the Wild West. No ads, but there was also all those extra content, restrictions. It's very, very, very odd time. But yeah, 06 was huge, and it was also an early education for me in that wrestling was a work, and like getting to learn about like the history of it. And that's when ECW came back, so you're really steeped in history if you're watching it, because they're constantly referencing stuff that came before. 2006 is the WWE debut of CM Punk, also known as Phil Brooks, or actually you should scratch that and reverse it. Phil Brooks, also known as CM Punk, who now is the world champion 20 years later. So some things, remain the same, even though it's been a long road. Crazy year, but I'm glad you phrased it like that. Games wise, I'm playing, like I joked about earlier, a lot of SmackDown versus Raw. I'm playing a lot of stuff on my PlayStation. I'm fact checking a year here, because I'm correct,
yeah,
then I'll really know what I was
I
doing.
didn't play a lot. I didn't play a lot of video games during that era. I'm trying to think back. I definitely early 2000s. Me and my roommates, blah blah blah, played a lot. But I was in my own. I had. Oh no, yeah, I wasn't. I left. Oh man, that's right. I left. Battlefront 2 was it. Battlefront 2. But I moved out of my house that year into an apartment. Oh well,
Battlefront 2 is huge, man.
Sorry,
At this point, it drifted off into a war flashback, like the dog meme with the
2006. Yeah, 2006 was a great year overall for me. But 2006, I had lived in a house in Northridge for like 4 or 5 years, but all my roommates moved out, got married, left, went to other jobs, and I was with some other guys who were friends of mine from the comedy world, but not as close. And they kind of all bailed on me, and I was left. It was the first time in my life when I look back at my financial struggles. I had to close my 401k at the time to pay rent and find a way to get out of the house. And like, I'm still battling that problem, you know what I mean? And it's just like, that was the first time. And I don't think I ever recovered. Yeah. Fuck. Man. Damn it. Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know what I was doing when you were dealing with that?
I don't want to know. But tell me.
I was playing the newly released Kingdom Hearts 2, baby. Kingdom Hearts 2. God tier game, still in my top 5 games, maybe of all time. Really, I'm being a smart ass, but that does go to show. I mean, the age gap between you and I matters less and less with every year, but at that point, worlds.
Yeah. Okay.
Worlds.
Yeah.
A galaxy.
Yeah. You say that. But if I start dating a 30-year-old, you will judge me, and I don't think that's fair.
Will I judge you, or will I be like, okay, now I need to date a 50-year-old? all things in balance. We need to cosmically even this out. Look, the whole thing about this is a completely different tangent, but I'm gonna have it anyway because it's our show. The whole thing about like age gap dating is pretty funny because it is one of the last bastions of true, not one of the last bastions because we're kind of defined by this. That's a poor phrasing on my part, but it is one of the last, like, we don't bat an eye at it, versions of classism manifesting in other areas of our life. And what I mean by that is this: if you started dating a 30-year-old right now and we're very public about it and just like showing her off on streams and, you know, like being obnoxious, everybody would be like this.
Better yet. I got the great before.
Yeah, precisely like that. Yeah, exactly. If you started dating a 30-year-old right now, people would judge you, right?
Yeah.
And people give you shit for it. But if you made like a couple $1 million more a year, nobody would give a shit. Nobody would care. You would just be another Michael Douglas type figure with a younger wife. To do age gaps like that is something that we allow for the rich, and we do not allow it for anyone in the middle or lower classes in this country. It fascinates me. I don't have an answer for it, nor do I really think it's like I'm not up in arms like, let poors date old and young people. It's not like it's a cause that I believe in, but it's just something that is true, that once you notice it, you can't stop noticing it. Like my mom, you know, was talking about like, because Bradley Cooper, who I love, is dating one of the Hadid sisters. Someone could tell me which one. But she's like probably 15 to 20 years his junior. He's divorced now and he's dating a young model. He's not the first actor to do it, and he certainly won't be the last. But he's doing that. And my mom mentioned it to me, and we were talking about it. And she was like, "Oh, well, I don't really think it's a big deal." And I'm like, "Really? Could I date one of your friends? Would you think it's not a big deal?" And I'm like, forget like mother son of it all, but like, it's just because they're rich that you don't bat an eye. It's because they're rich and because you're seeing them do things you want to do. They're eating at places you want to eat at. They're going to events you want to go to. They're wearing dresses you want to wear. But but when a poor person does it, it's just like, wow, look at that sad divorced guy with his young girlfriend and his plate of, you know, barbecue chicken. And but like, we get so shitty about it unless you can dress it up. and that
Yeah,
fascinates me.
but I think
I
I did. This is I just took us to a weird tangent, but like David points out like Leo gets issues.
Yeah,
Belichick, Bill Belichick and what's going on
Bill
him. Tom Brady.
Belichick.
I think we're in an era where it is less. I don't know. I don't even know the words. I just, as someone who's had age gaps of like over decades twice, like not decades, but like decades and a half twice. Like I'm always like, well, it's not a problem. Like what is the issue? Because I've also gone 5 years older. Like what is it? But like Leo is it? Leo is a thing. Like I get it. I don't know. I'm going back to I tell you what. I'm going back to 2006 where this is not an issue.
And 06, it certainly would not be an issue. But like right now, so I'm 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
A woman born in 06 is now 20. I could date a woman born in the year that we're discussing, but like that would be super
and people.
weird. But if I was exactly the way I am, but rich, it would not matter.
Yeah,
and that is
weird. Yeah. I think like it's the like Seinfeld getting away with dating a high schooler. That's not something I endorse. You know what I mean? Like that's not what I'm saying. I think
very
sometimes
different.
people,
very different.
People play the weird game where like, well, when you were blank, they were here. Like, yeah, I didn't know him. Like, what are you like? Stop. What are you doing? Like, no one's. It's
you
it's
can't.
normal.
You can't invent a frame of reference for a thing you didn't experience or see.
Yeah. If I had met them, if I was a youth pastor who started dating one of my youth pastor kids when they turned 18, and I met them when they were 10, like that's a problem we should always maybe be concerned about. Maybe dig into a little bit.
Yeah. By the way, we're also in the first calendar year, I think, of Bradgelina in 2006. We're coming out of the ending of Brad and Jennifer and moving into.
Speaking of,
I remember people
problematic
in my family, like aunts and uncles being like home wrecker, about Angelina Jolie. Like I'd never seen adults so invested in other people's lives before. And not that it hadn't happened. Obviously, it had been going back. You can go back to the 40s and find this behavior. But it was the first time we saw it, and that the idea of celebrity couples and super couples and Bennifer and Bradgelina and like all those things all still existed or had just existed. And I think the celebrity culture we're dealing with now is sort of born in 06 to our detriment. Like we are worse off because of this. I can't remember if the Kim Kardashian sex tape came out in this year, but it was definitely in this period.
Yeah. I think what you're speaking to, because I would say, hey, it's always been like this. And this is your pop culture awakening year. It's always been like this. I think the big difference is what you're just touched upon, which is the reality TV angle of it, where now we are in a post Kim Kardashian world. And I'm not saying that the sex tape that I don't even like saying it launched her. Like I'm not, that's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
If she had no intention behind that, to do that. But like, yeah, it's that's to me what the difference is. If I'm pulling out what you're saying there. Before that, I think we had this thing going in. Like I always joke with my buddy Lon Harris from Screen Junkies, like, why do we know that Dave Grohl and Louise Post dated in the 90s? Like, why do we know all that? why do we know all those things? And it's just because it's always a bit of an obsession. But I think you're right about the reality TV angle.
That was me yesterday, just talking about like our perception of celebrities. We were taught. So the Oscar nominations came out yesterday. My quick opinion on that is that it's a great year. There you go. Period. It's a great year. No losers. Like it's just like a couple things I wanted that didn't get awards, but it's not the end of the world. It's a great year for movies. And in that, a lot of conversation about Paul Thomas Anderson, and I had the same thought of like, why do I know that he was 26 years old and like after getting yelled at all day by Burt Reynolds, he would go home and sleep with Fiona Apple? Like, why do I know that? Why do I know so much about this man's life who I have never interacted with? But that's the thing is that it used to just be, I think, trivia. And what we're touching on is that change of like, it used to be trivia that you know about people or just like reports and rumors about celebs if you cared enough to know anything about Hollywood. And then it became, American cultural fabric in the same way that like this sounds like a joke, but like the Kardashians and that whole thing that was obviously birthed in real world and then evolves into what they evolved it into, that becomes the closest thing that we have to royals. Like that is like JFK Camelot stuff, but made even dumber and more corrupt and more like just catty and stupid. And that became that's the thing.
There's a different there's a different energy to it that you touch upon that I agree with. I think timeline, we could do a documentary about it, but there was, by this era, the 2000s, you just knew everything, where before it was still kind of lifestyles for the rich and famous, right? Kiefer Sutherland and Julia Roberts, like they were America's couple for a while. Winona Ryder and Johnny Depp, and we knew they broke up and he changed his tattoo, but we didn't, Lily Allen and Dave Harbour is a great example of back in the day would have been like, oh, they separated. Now she's releasing and now we know everything. Now we know butt plugs. You know what I mean? Like that would never have come out on Entertainment Tonight in 1996.
No, for sure. And we are, not to just do doomer like everything's worse now, but we are definitively worse off for everything that you just said. Like the way that people consume art now, all the art that we talked about, music, television, movies, wrestling, everything is so colored now by the fact that people have become, parasocial is the word, but like it doesn't even feel like it accurately describes it, because it's like they're uncomfortable liking anything that makes them feel like an accessory to anything potentially icky. It's very, very strange. I've talked about it before using, Harry Potter as the big example, because it is such a massive cultural, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like a cultural, like double-edged sword now in a way, where it's like, it's a touchstone, but it's like one of the only ones to be like fully corrupted in the way that it has been. And you've seen people react to that with like, well, those books were always garbage, they always sucked. And it's like, that's not the point. Like we're not asking you to retroactively have feelings that you clearly did not have. We're asking you to acknowledge now, so it's like you find out things now about celebrities and like everybody is, well, I'm not gonna go see this movie because that person, and it's like, I'm not talking about supporting genocide, right? So before anybody's like, there are valid of course there are, but what I'm saying is like the idea that this person is fallible or anything. Like you saw it sort of around this time, like, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you mean the movie that ruined his marriage with Jennifer Aniston? Guess what? I don't know Jennifer Aniston. Seems like a nice woman. Why should you give a fuck about that? And that started here and bled into the next 20 years to where we are now. Where it's like everything is a moral judgment. Everything's a moral judgment. In a way that
there was the Meg Ryan, Russell Crowe, Dennis Quaid debacle a few years earlier, but
yeah. You and you know what? Good for her. Now if we're talking about what we know about people and what Dennis Quaid has turned into.
I've switched allegiances in that fight.
You're like, I was always a Russell Crowe guy in this whole scenario.
Amazing.
I love 8984M. Ellen Brady's comment here that I hypothesize it has origins in palace intrigue. We used to talk about nobles and royalty like this. You're not wrong. There's always a little bit of that. I think that comes up with class, like your look to things that you think are better, and of course, like there's the not all that glitters is gold and all that stuff that we know, but we're inspired by these people, but we are trying to look to them to also model ourselves after. So that's how you tie in, elements of yourself, and it's weird. Who's a good person to mention for this? Taylor Swift. What was Taylor Swift doing in 2006? Let's see.
Addie gave an answer earlier. She was opening up for Brad Paisley and someone else.
Really? Oh, okay, good. Okay, I was genuinely asking. I didn't know if she had released her debut at that point. Was she still doing in-house babysitting gigs for Jeff Jarrett during the TNA days? Because that's a fun. How does Taylor Swift connect to wrestling? That's the connection. Is that she knows Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, interesting time. Debut was 2005. Thank you. Yeah, Diana and Charles for sure. Maddie, it wasn't 2006 when Mel Gibson went off the rails. Yes, and now we would elect him for doing that same rant. If Mel Gibson went on that same rant now, he would have $1 million GoFundMe. His career would be unaffected. He would still be on top of his game, if not more so. He would get a Presidential Medal of Freedom, and it would be fine. I'm not even joking. Like that's the level of degradation that we've gone through in 20 years. Is that Mel Gibson stuff is nothing in comparison to what we're dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah. My friend was at the Lost. He was the deputy at the Lost Hill station when that happened. Crazy time.
Really?
Yeah. Mel and that officer kind of eventually became friends. He would stop by the station afterwards.
Wow.
Crazy.
Correction. Taylor Swift's debut was 2006, which means we're at 20 years of Taylor Swift in the rise to cultural domination.
Wow. Okay.
I'm sure she knows.
20 years of T Swift. That's its own show.
I know. 20 years of Taylor Swift it's a crazy thing to think about because, white people generally don't age that well. But really, it's like, you and Taylor Swift, like she 20-year career, like she looks marvelous. She looks marvelous for 20 years of that intense, that intense, and getting more intense as it goes. Like she literally in the face has not changed at all. I'm actually mind blown by that. I sometimes still feel like she's new, which I think is a feeling that is going to keep growing with time.
Trust me. Yeah,
Molly and a list of white people that have aged spectacularly. Ken Napzok, Taylor Swift, Molly Damon for sure. Molly and Alex, honestly, both. I mean, Molly put up some wedding photos of them recently.
Taylor Swift
cracked me up. Literally, Alex Damon has not changed at all. At all. He's just grown more hunky. Yeah, millennials aging well. Addie said she's 36. Taylor Swift is 6 years older than me. See, I could date a 36-year-old for sure. For sure. 36, great. So, and you know what? You should. At this point, you should. Any last thoughts on 2006, or does anyone have anything they really want to throw out from 2006? Now's your time.
It was Molly says Alex has a forever baby face. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed it. Sorry, I hope this was interesting for other folks. I enjoyed just taking a little break for the world and going back. A lot of memories of. It's just, again, it's so fast, but there's a lot of folks that I met this year or got close to this year that are still here. We're still close, and there's others that aren't. That's going to happen, obviously. But in fact, during the show, one of them called me. Matt Key called me. This was the year he and I became friends, real close friends. It's kind of crazy, man. So yeah. Yeah, he called. Yeah, I got to call him back.
Shout out Matt Key.
Just do it right here on the show. Yeah, so good stuff, man. Good stuff.
So I want to ask you a couple questions before we go. Just just to kick around the ideas. As a person, start as a person. What's something from 06 that you wish was carried on now into 2006? Something that you feel is missing, or just something that we used to do. It could be something silly, whatever. And then the second question will be separately, creatively. We'll say specifically creatively after. But is there something that from 2006 that you just miss?
Yeah. Tactile keyboards on my phones. Bring back my BlackBerry, my Palm Trio. Okay. Okay. No. This is neat. This is neat. But I need a click, ding. That's what I need. Give me that. I'll forget everything else. Give me that.
You're so right. You're so right. I remember when Taika Waititi won the Oscar for Jojo Rabbit for adapted screenplay, he used his post-Oscar press conference to talk about how much he wants keyboards that make a click clack sound, and that meant so much to me because it makes you feel like you're doing more work. I think psychologically, it really does add to the experience of doing things.
Well, then the amount of we got about 20 years of this thing, right? 20 years of this iPhone, and I love it. It's great. I can shoot freaking movies on here. This is my studio for my ASMR channel. Like I do it all on here. But I still can't. I text you all that I have to correct 5 words because the thumb doesn't hit the right spot. Like, give me those keyboards.
I completely agree with you. Those were better phones. I just said to our friend Nikki Kumar off air yesterday, we were talking about cell phones in particular, and I was like, everybody should have to sign up for either a BlackBerry or a Motorola Razr going forward. We have to go back.
But in terms of yeah, we've got to go back to the Razr. In terms of just at the time, I don't know. It's tough, you know, because a lot of things you might say, I wish we still did this, but you know, I think the world was a lie, can be a lie, and things that you thought were nice and smooth were hiding other problems, and I think there's all that. I don't want to say go back to where we were less divided. We probably should have been more divided. Like we probably should have started hashing things out a long time ago. But it's hard to separate. I'd give anything to be 30 again with my 50-year-old brain, and that sounds cliche because anyone would say that youth is wasted on the young. But
Sure.
For me personally, I had so much in front of me that I refused to see, and I wish I had that back.
Do you, as a follow-up to that, just like interpersonally, do you like, and this could be romantic or otherwise, it could just be friendship too. Do you like forming relationships more now in the 2020s, or do you wish we still formed relationships / dated the way we did in 06?
You were talking about just friendship, relationships in a general sense, or relationships romantic?
It could be forming relationships, but if you want to tack on, it's different for dating, feel free. If it is different for dating.
I mean, in 2004, my first, actual serious, I'm dating someone, girlfriend thing, that came because of MySpace. So by here, I was already kind of in that spot. But what has always, for me, worked and why it works less now is all 3 of my serious relationships came from work, came from being around them, came from you get to see me, I get to see you in an actual less hyper-realized dating way. And I'm not a great dater. Other people I know are great daters. I'm not a great dater. And so now this is my work. I don't meet anyone. And it's true, as the older you get, your friendship circle might shrink too. That's natural. And we were talking about last week, the thing that affected me about that 2016 trend was every day at work, I saw someone I cared about. Not the people I just worked with, but people that came through, people that I booked for shows, booking TV fights, helping to book movie fights. There's people I worked really hard to bring in people I cared for. And I got my squirrels, my dog, and I got my friend Jason to go for a walk with. I got you virtually, Joseph, Jennifer virtually. I play Fortnite with Ken Plume. It's a great circle, but it's all I have, and it's sad. That's sad. I wish that changed.
It's also like, I don't want to speak for you, so feel free to correct or alter what I'm saying. But like when you said you also have like Joseph, Jennifer, it made me realize something too that we haven't mentioned in this. The 20 years between 06 and 2026 in Los Angeles, California, are also a very different 20 years than most people. Certainly than I had in South Florida, because it's what you just said there was also like, like Joseph and Jennifer live in the same city as you, but in these last 20 years, it's like Los Angelinos, like you guys have become more like these like broken up, like we don't see each other anymore. I don't even have time to go over there. Like that has changed in a way that it didn't happen in like Miami. You know?
I have physically been in the same space with Jennifer Landa twice in the last 6 years.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing.
Joseph, we had lunch last week.
In the same city, but it might as well be different worlds. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
That ties in well to the last thing I wanted to ask you, and then I'll read off some comments and then we'll get out of here. The creative element of it. You mentioned what was going on a little bit in the stand-up scene at that time. What do you wish we could bring from 2006 creativity, be that comedy or wrestling or anything that you worked on at the time, to now? Or do you think that no, it's in a better place now, and we did what we had to do?
I think it is in a better spot. I think what I wish, and maybe it's just because I wish myself, but I wish there was a little bit more of the traditional base still existed, and I'm not just saying it because the industry sucks right now. And I just had coffee with a friend yesterday who's like me, hasn't had work for over a year, and grocery stores won't hire him because they're like, you don't have experience. Yeah, because I spent 20 years fucking producing it. And so I wish that changed. But when I think back to then, no, like stand up was in a bad spot. The Comedy Store was a den of iniquity and a den of edgelords. And though that still sometimes can persist in all comedy clubs and all comedy corners, without a doubt, Austin comedy scene, all that stuff, blah blah blah. But like, you go to the Comedy Store now, it's way more diverse than people want to give it credit for. It's way more inviting. It's way more fun. Comedy itself is in a better spot. Yeah. But I think there was hey, I can go sell a show. I can go do this, and that still exists. But what was great about 2006 is the energy of something brand new that is still always, because there's always going to be new things to explore. And how do I master reels, and how do I do TikToks and all this stuff? How do I give my information to the e-listens, all that stuff? But like, there was when Always Sunny in Philadelphia hit, and it was like they made their own pilot. Like, that changed the game for a lot of us, and it didn't always work for everyone. It was a little bit of a pipe dream, but I wish there's kind of this Brave New World frontier kind of creation that was going on, and I wish that was still present and not, and maybe because I'm just jaded.
I'm right there with you, man. Everything you're saying, it's like I am compelled spiritually to agree, because if that was the case for you guys then, and if it had stayed the case, it would have been the case for us now. Then you guys sort of I think something Larry David said at the SNL 40th anniversary, which for those of you playing at home was a decade ago, which is a horrific thing to say. The 40th was a decade ago. That he said, like, they were joking about making Seinfeld, and he goes, yeah, it was kind of like we had the last ticket out of Disneyland before it burned down. And it's like, exactly. Like, it's just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well said on all of that. I just wanted to get your thoughts as somebody with more perspective, because it would be kind of silly for me to answer that, because my answers would be like, yeah, I miss not paying bills. Like, for me, it's very simple. Like, it's childhood. And so for me, it's like, of course I would go back. Molly points out, I'm going to rattle off some of your comments. Nintendo Wii came out. We got Alan Smithy Video Store still existed, and we are worse off without them. Molly also said PS3. 8994M says keyboard, get red keyboard switches. Yeah. Oh, here we go. We had a question. What was George Lucas doing in 2006? And then it's already been answered in here. Yes, he started Lucasfilm Animation in 2006. So Clone Wars. This is the 20th anniversary of Clone Wars being worked on, even though the 20th anniversary of Clone Wars is still 2 years away. But this is fresh off the prequels. George working on animation with the young Dave. Everybody agreeing with you about 06. Addie with a great comment. I wouldn't want to be a teenager again, though. Teenager Addie was lonely, had no idea what she would become. I wouldn't want to give up who I am and go back to then. I think that's why there's always that caveat of like, I want to retain the knowledge that I have before I go back.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Molly, God, remember how big Dane Cook was? Okay, I'm so glad she said that. Dane Cook, I've said this to you, Ken. I cannot exaggerate enough that Dane Cook was like a god to us in middle school. Like, that was the first comedian that broke through, that we knew his name and we were talking about his specials in like the cafeteria, because he had Vicious Circle, which was massive, and we could quote the whole hour. We could sit there and do the whole hour. But it was also, and I say this with no personal animosity toward Dane, I do not mean this to dunk on a guy I don't know. But when he released Isolated Incident, it was our first experience of, oh, we don't like this comic anymore. And we sort of had the whole life cycle of loving a comic. Like, not that he did anything wrong, but it was a different type of, like, Dane, he like shaved his head, he got buff before that special, and he was doing a little bit more sexual humor. And we were kind of like, oh, he's not telling the funny stories, and doing the same type of, like, we saw a whole arc for him just there. And I'm sure he's gone on like 10 arcs even since then. But that was
to fall away down
a learning experience. Oh, I thought all of these were going to be the same. They were were all going to be funny. That was big.
Yeah.
Producer Steve joined us. Hello. Yeah.
No, interesting. And Dane
Go ahead. No, sorry, I didn't know if you had a Dane.
Yeah. Dane and Jay Davis and the explosion of MySpace, they were the first to kind of become kind of influencers in a way, like how to leverage your online brand, your online persona into ticket sales. He kind of created that. And I've been around a few times, and I know there's, speaking of, we talked earlier about problematic age gaps, but also problematic starts to relationships. I think he's in that category. I've been around him a few times. Actually hung out with him a little bit at the solo premiere. He's a big Star Wars fan. But also I saw him do stand up back then. He dropped in on the Improv one night when I was there in like 04, 05 range, and he was great. Like he was great. He's of his time, and
he's a good storyteller.
He's a good comic. Like he is good. It was a sight to behold in front of 25 people. He brought stadium energy. He was good.
I think that there is something to be said for when a comic does material that is, at this point, as we said, this 20-year range of the that's how long the jokes have been around. And still now in the comments, I'm seeing people, Molly referenced the Shocker, Osvetnik referenced a BNE. Like, they say these things, like, it becomes cultural currency to where you're like, I know the whole bit. We could immediately start riffing. That is impressive. When you can contribute something to a whole cultural language with bits that you did. Like, I always think about the thing I love that Dane did the most was his I don't know, I guess his then girlfriend in a story that he does where she says, well, you're just like your father. And then he's like pacing in the basement afterward. And it was how physical he got with the circular stage too. And it was in the center of the arena for the special. Definitely changed the game for us. The good cry. Yeah. David Mackay here. That was like sort of, like I said, we did the whole life cycle of loving a comic. Then I remember like that was also kind of like growing up a little bit, because then we didn't all have the same sense of humor anymore.
Right.
That was also, you're going into middle school, and then it's like, okay, well, I think now, like, I'm finding older stuff. I'm finding stuff for like dads. So I went like down my Alden path of like, Dane Cook's not funny anymore, but Robin Williams is funny, George Carlin is funny, Sandler is funny. I started to find like more SNL and more of those people. Other people went a different way, and now those people, well, they're probably Rogan listeners. So it's just, things shook out. They shook out. Everybody doing punchlines in here from the bit that I'm talking about makes me so happy. We need to go back and I'll watch it. We'll do a live watch along.
We'll do that.
Good stuff.
All right.
Love
We're
y'all.
Out of here. We didn't touch on. Alden's not much of a sports fan. I would just be talking at him. 2006. It's a long time ago. I was still in the same fantasy baseball league. I love this. It was a lot of fun. We'll do it again.
How were the Dolphins back then? How were the Dolphins?
Still sucked. It's been 25 years of the same team. We were last good in 2000. Thanks, Alden. It's painful.
Just checking.
It's painful.
Just checking.
Thanks for watching. Anytime. We'll do it. See ya. Bye.